scientific evaluation, mixing it up with lies and coming up with devious conclusions. So none of the antecedents of humans have been proved to be anything apart from humans.
So you're telling me that evolution is a lie then?
There is no evidence for evolution, none at all.
No evidence whatsoever?
None at all.
So what are you saying how we arrived here then?
You were created as a human being from a source who could create human beings fully developed to be human.
And what was that source?
That source must be God.
Must be God.
Because God came to this world to be recognized as a human being. God created you human.
And you just said to me that there is no evidence of evolution.
No evidence of evolution.
Therefore, can you produce some evidence that we were created from God? If evidence is what you're going to use.
Look back in history and you can see that human beings have evidence, features of humanity, nothing else. So in the history of evolution, the question to ask you is, when did humans evidence anything apart from human behavior, human character? When did that happen?
When did what? Say that.
When did humans ever evidence anything apart from human characteristics of human behavior? When did that happen?
Well, there's lots of things that we're looking at that does show the whole tree.
Where is the evidence, David? Where is
go and have a look at
evidence?
Have a go and look at the evidence. Go and have a look at the Australopithecines and the Neanderthals. And we all
were human. Neanderthals were human.
They were human. They weren't human like us, were they?
Hey, look, you've got people who are pygmies in the Pacific who are very, very small humans. So we have a variety of features, but we are human.
Are you telling me we haven't changed at all since God created us?
Change and variation is available to us across the broad spectrum of human characteristics. But you are a white man, I'm a black man, but we're human.
But we have changed then. We have
change on a daily basis, but evolution in biological terms is not change on a daily basis. That you can identify relative features between us and other biological forms that are not recognized in any fossil or scientific record at all.
Okay, well, can you ask me this? Do you believe in the story of Adam and Eve?
Adam and Eve is not a story, it's a scientific record of the creation of humanity.
So you believe that Adam and Eve were the first humans on earth created by God, is that right?
Adam and Eve necessarily came from the God who came to this world. Jesus, God, came to this world as God, recognized, identified as God, and he validated the source of what he did when he created humans in his own image.
That we came from Adam and Eve.
We came from God. God created Adam. That is a historical scientific fact.
Right, Adam and Eve.
We as humans reflect the possibility to evidence characteristics in the spectrum of color that include the Semitic feature. The Semitic feature includes on the one hand, very, very light, on the one hand, very, very dark. All those are part of the coloration of the Semitic feature. Read about how in South Africa you have a white family, and they produce a black child from two white parents, and it was an anomaly because under the laws of South Africa, segregation, apartheid, they could not live where they were living because they were considered to have produced a coloured daughter who had no right to live in that area. But how could that happen when these two parents were white, fully white European and Caucasian? How could they produce a black daughter? It is terminology. Science means knowledge, so people think science is about men in white coats doing.
So you're a scientist then, are you?
Yes, everybody who has knowledge is a scientist. So science is knowledge. Where does knowledge come from? God. God is omniscient, all-knowing. Without God there is no knowledge, there's just mere speculation or aggregated ignorance. And most people do not know, therefore they can't be called scientific. So when we ask ourselves what is the origin of who we are and where we come from, without God there's only a question mark. That's not knowledge, it's just a question. So in the beginning God created, so we know. How did he do it? He's already told us. This is why the Bible is scientific. In the Bible God tells us how he did what he did and why he did what he did. So it's answered the question. Not failed. When Jesus rose from the dead supernaturally, it is by the power of God. He didn't need the validation of somebody in a white coat with a stethoscope saying, you can do this, you can come out of the grave. He arose from the dead. He was dead, then he was alive. This is God's power. So nobody can contradict God when he says, this is how I will do what I will do. So all the Bible tells about God's supernatural activity. So the sun remained still because God said stop, and it stopped. That's it. I became a Christian because God caused me to know that everything in here is true, and I met my Saviour Jesus, who had been crucified, dead and buried, yet he was alive when I met him.
Hey, yes.
You are skeptical unbelievers.
Jesus cured me.
You're the sort of people who, when it comes to how you perceive life, you have no hope, you're materialists, you believe in lies, you believe evolution is true, you have no understanding of the miraculous power of God, and so you have no contribution to make on any level of faith. Now, on the